When does your knife become collectible? That's a hard question to answer. But in the case of this Camillus Blaze 3.0 everyday carry knife, it was February of 2007, because that's when its parent company, Camillus, unfortunately and very sadly went out of business. Now that was due to, we're told, and I've read, foreign competition. They said they wanted to reduce the wages at the Camillus factory for all the workers, and also the vacation pay or time off, whatever. So they were pretty ticked off and they struck for a number of months, i.e. went on strike, and that basically sunk the company. They brought a few employees back after that, but they just couldn't make ends meet. They went out of business. So as it stands of the recording of this video, July 2008, Camillus is long gone. It's a memory. Now, will it be resurrected in some form or another? I don't know. It's hard to say. Acme United acquired the intellectual and name brand rights for $200,000 for Camillus. So what are they going to do with those remains to be seen. But like I said, as of now and probably forever, your Camillus knives are collector's items. Now, take care of them, use them, doesn't matter. It's still interesting that how they went up in value due to the unforeseen circumstances of the company. And I really hate to see and hated to see Camillus leave. It's a long storied and very historical company dating all the way back to the 1800s with its German immigrant founder. So hopefully we'll see them come back. So let's talk about the specifics of this assisted opening knife, the Blaze 3.0. And yes, Camillus is gone. However, like I always will, and I promise my viewers, I'm going to review every knife critically and honestly, just like I would like to have done for me if I was a potential buyer. Maybe you'll have an opportunity to get one of these on the secondary market, or if you're lucky, there might be a few internet sources or even some local sources where you live that have this knife. First off, the nice things I like about the Blaze and its larger brother, the Heat, and maybe its littler brother, the Sizzle, are the fast opening. They're pretty fast in their deployment. And of course there's two ways we can deploy it. We can do it with the extended blade tang in the rear of the handle. Kind of common with some other designs. That's one way to do it. Also the thumb stud, which is my favorite way because it's standardized with my other knives. And as you know, I like to standardize how I deploy my knives. It's just easier that way. How about the blade? Just about 3 inches. The Camillus, I gotta make sure I get the name right. This is a Blaze. I always get those confused between the Sizzle and the Blaze, but this is a Blaze, and the blade itself is actually very nicely sized. I like it. Not too big, not too small. Nice clip point, very functional. Maybe a little bit wide for my purposes for EDC. I prefer maybe a little bit narrower blade. I find it cuts better for the tasks that I usually put my EDCs through. However, for yours, they might be different. You may love it. But that blade is just a little bit wide. 440 stainless steel. I believe 440C if I'm not mistaken. If I am, I'll correct that in the description. Which is a good steel. I have no problems with it. Daryl Ralph design. This is a BT or black coated blade, and it's very handsome. Like it a lot. Now this is a relatively new knife for me. I have not carried this one. I did want to get one for the reasons I said. It's kind of collectible. It's kind of cool to have because it's a piece of history, and it's not too bad of a design either. So back to the blade. It's got that unsharpened false edge on the top, giving it a little bit more penetration capabilities, maybe into a cardboard box and plastic packaging, whatever you're opening there. Decent. Nice logos on the side of the blade. Very handsome, well done. How's the lockup? Really good. Outstanding lockup. Now I say that, and as I wiggle it back and forth, I do detect a very slight amount of wiggle side to side. However, that doesn't really concern me too much because I have a pivot screw here I can adjust. And I will do that. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, I had to do that on my Heat models too. And I had to adjust them. The one you can't adjust is this one. laterally up and down. Actually not laterally, but just up and down, and that's very rock solid, so I love that. Alright, that's the blade, functional, nice EDC blade. There are several things, however, I do not like about the Camillus Blaze 3.0. One of them is this handle portion here is where the dual thumb studs kind of butt up against in the extended position. You can see there's some steel there, and those those dual thumb studs will rock into position against those liners. I have no problem with that, that's fine. However, the Zytel or FRN handle, whatever it is, I think it's fiberglass reinforced nylon, Zytel, same thing in my opinion. It extends past those metal engagement points, and it's very sharp. So these are some sharp edges, not wickedly sharp, but uncomfortably sharp. If you were to run your hand across there, or heaven forbid, if you ran it quick, it would rip your skin open. So that's some very sharp edges on there. I do not like that. I think they could have done a better job with that. So that's the first hit I'm going to give the Blaze. Another one is it's thick. I don't like the thickness of the Blaze. Same can be said for the Heat and the Sizzle. Now some of y'all may say, well, that's a comfortable handle, I like it. It's more hand filling. I can understand that. Yeah, it is that. However, it's also bulkier. And my EDC knives, and I'll just bring the SOG Flash 1 again into the picture just for reference. I want them to be slim and unnoticeable in the pocket until I need them. If I'm thinking about them all the time and bumping into them, chances are they're going to be left in the drawer when I get ready in the morning. I just get to the point where I don't carry knives that are problematic. If they're too heavy, too bulky, the clip's jacked up somehow, I just don't carry them. That's why I'm always carrying a Flash 1, because I forget that I have it on me until I need it. And I'm like, do I have my knife? Oh yeah, I do. There it is. So, a little too thick in the handle. Another thing I do not like about these Heat, Sizzle, and Blaze versions is they're steel lined, at least partially. If you look inside there, steel will run inside the FRN handle pretty much the whole way. And I think it's unnecessary. Again, with my EDC knives, I much prefer not to have steel inside the Zytel or FRN handles. I just don't think it's needed. So that adds a little more weight. And you say, well, it's only 2.5 ounces. Well, the Flash is 1.2 ounces. So it's over twice the weight of the Flash for the same amount of cutting capability. Maybe a little more. This blade may have a little bit more, but nevertheless, the point remains, it is a larger and a little bit heavier EDC knife. How about a good point? The locking, like I said, is mostly tight. I do love how they bent the locking liner over so it's easy to engage with your thumb. I love it when knives do that. It's so much more comfortable to engage and disengage. So good job on that. And now we get to yet another bad point, and that's the clip. You can't reverse it on these models of assisted openers by Camillus. I sure wish Daryl Ralph had designed it so we could. Let's put that, enable me, just like Spyderco and some Benchmade models, to flip that clip around. Man, it just adds so much more versatility. Especially since the way I'm going to be carrying this, because I'm relegated to a tip down carry by the pivot point, guess what's poking straight up as I carry out of my pocket? Those sharp edges I told you about. That kind of sucks. So I would love to have seen that changed. I mean, it's a moot point now, obviously, but we have to be honest when we talk about the knives. Otherwise, the handle is comfortable, albeit thick, and the overall feel, once it is deployed, i.e. those sharp edges are not a factor anymore, is actually quite comfortable. Aesthetic jimping right here in the thumb ridge, not very functional, and none down here. However, that extended choil allows us to get a nice purchase on the knife. So I would term the Camillus Blaze 3.0 a good EDC knife, but not excellent. It does have some drawbacks which you need to be aware of. I think the competition is fierce and very good and might surpass the Blaze in several areas. However, heaven forbid that Camillus never comes back. I would sure love to see him make more knives. Thanks.